Greetings, everybody. So, one of my last videos, which was a very thorough explanation of addressing the question of if you can change your personality type or not. As you know, I thoroughly covered this in my 9-second video the other day. And it looks like we have some triggered folks who don't think it's right to say that your personality type can't change, that it puts people in a box. And I have personally experienced family members who this is their main complaint about personality type. Tends to be J-type family members. And you have to understand, what's most fascinating to me about this is a simple understanding of personality theory would lead you to not be so upset about this. Because J-types are more likely to not like something that confines you like that, specifically SJ types. NJs are a little more open-minded, but NJs are more likely to be very black and white in the way they judge the types. So you're either this way or you're not. There's no exceptions type of thing. So NJs can be a little bit too black and white in that area. Like if they have a bad experience with a certain type, they're susceptible to being kind of black and white about that. Like all people of this type are like this and are bad or whatever. They're susceptible doesn't mean they're all like that. So it's something they need to work on, just like all types need to work on something. So the first thing I would say is this: just like a schedule, it's good to have a schedule for a perceiving type. And this doesn't mean that you need to see the schedule as a prison. This is one of the biggest deterrents perceiving types face in making a schedule and making their lives a little bit more orderly, is they don't want to feel confined, like they're in this prison. It's because you're viewing the schedule in the wrong way. J-types are comfortable with making decisions now because they are fully aware that things can be changed later on if need be. Perceiving types don't like the idea of making that decision now if something better could turn up. So there's a balance there. Perceiving types can be a little more decisive, and J types can be a little bit more open-minded. True growth is filling these gaps and in yourself. So just like with typology, you should not see it as a prison. Perceiving types are much less likely to see something like this as a prison, and they're more open to seeing things as more shades of gray. Like you lean towards this side rather than this is just some box you're putting someone in. Some people will instantly, when they hear about personality types, they think, you can't put me in a box. You can't box me in. I'm not the same as all ENTJs or INTPs or whatever else. Of course you're not. No one said you were. Personality types are not a prison, like I said. All INTPs are going to be different. They're all going to have different interests. Most of the INTPs I know have different interests than me. They're not necessarily, into martial arts or guitar or even mathematics necessarily, like I was as a kid. They all have different interests, but there's going to be one common theme: a yearning for knowledge and achievement. So this is what personality type is. It's a wireframe. It's not saying this is who you are in the totality of who you are. Human beings are so complex, that's not even possible to do, no matter how many systems you are using. You're using the Enneagram, typology, astrology. I mean, you could use 100 different systems, and you still wouldn't be able to, confine people in their totality. So that's the first thing. First misconception is you just need to stop seeing it as a prison and seeing it more like a tool for growth. And yes, some people do go too far with typology, and I understand that. I understand why that would turn you off to it. It turns me off to it sometimes. Some people get way too crazy about this stuff, and they stop using it as a tool for growth, and they use it as a means for confining others and themselves to a box, and they stop growing. They use it as an excuse to not grow. They say, oh, well, I'm an INFJ, I can't help this. No need to grow, it's just who I am. When really it should be the opposite of that. It's actually, it can be used in this way to the point where it's actually kind of disgusting. And it's no different than, racism and bigotry, the way some people judge other types. And, it tends to be human nature to do this to a degree, and it can get out of hand if left unchecked. But yeah, it's just, you need to start viewing it for what it is, and not seeing it in such a black and white, narrow-minded way. But yeah, no, your personality type doesn't change. I know I kind of got off on a tangent there, but no, your personality type doesn't change. These are natural preferences. It has been known for a long time in human behavior and science, genetics, everything, that this stuff is primarily genetic. It's primarily nature rather than nurture. As far as your personality type goes, now these are natural propensities. These are natural ways that you are. You can't help being an introvert or an extrovert. It just has to do with your energy. It has to do with all kinds of different factors of your sensitivity to stimuli and on and on and on. You can't help these biological factors that determine your tastes, they determine your hair color, they determine your temperament, period. Now, it's not to say you can't grow. You absolutely can. Every introvert out there watching can become better, have better social skills, learn how to, do public speaking and become better, quicker on their feet in conversations and debates. Absolutely. But you're always going to have that natural need for that recharge time in that space. And people really need to understand each other's differences in this way. I think it's really important to understand yourself and others. And this is why I value personality theory and other systems of thought. So no, your personality type doesn't change. You can grow. You can grow in unlimited ways. You can fill all those weak spots to become a super individual. I absolutely believe in that. But that doesn't change your propensities, your natural propensities, and, your biological factors that determine your temperament, period. So it's as simple as that, guys. I know, I just wanted to make this longer explanation to explain my thoughts on this and why I don't think you can change your personality type. So, well, that's another thing though. Like, it's funny because just a small understanding in personality theory, the people who are judging it in a negative way would probably not judge it as much if they understood it a little better. They understood that them judging personality theory actually has to do with their personality type to an extent. So that's the most fascinating thing about it, is most of the criticisms against this stuff comes down to a person's personality. So it's a simple, like most things in life, most things that that are driven by anger and some sort of resentful emotions towards a topic, or you're threatened in some way, has to do with that. It has to do with why am I losing my train of thought like crazy right now? What the hell? I just completely lost my train of thought of what I was going to say. Where was I going with that? I have no idea. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. Personality theory, you should not see it as a prison, as a box. It's valuable no matter how you look at it. Usually when people react negatively to something, it has to do with a weakness of some sort, or they are threatened in some way. They are associating something with pain. It is causing them pain in some way. When you talk about personality theory, they feel boxed in. They don't like. No one likes to feel boxed in. I don't like feeling boxed in. I don't like being compared to other INTPs. I don't like it when INTPs come to my channel and act like they're the same person as me. You're not. That's natural human desire to want to be a unique individual. And I simply don't see personality theory as making you a non-unique individual at all. I see it as a wireframe. So I think that's really what it comes down to, is people just don't like being boxed in. but I don't think it should make you feel boxed in. Just like anything else that, anything else in the study of human behavior, like statistics on differences between male and female personality and brain differences and things like that, shouldn't make you feel boxed in. Absolutely not. But they are generalizations and tendencies that can lead us to a truth. The attempt to determine truth is often very complicated and nuanced. Much more complicated than many people want to believe. Most people don't like complex thinking, period. They just want to believe you're either good or bad. You're either with us or against us. You're either a liberal or conservative. If you're not a conservative, then you're a bad person. If you're not a liberal, you're a bad person. If you're not this, you're a bad person. If you're not that. And it's just so much more complicated than that. Humans are so much more complicated than most people want to believe, because people don't like complicated thinking, because they don't care about truth. They care about feeling good. They believe what is attractive and what makes them feel good, period. Now, there are exceptions, and I don't want to toot my horn or anything, but those exceptions tend to be the TI types, who do care about truth. Okay? So we're the ones that really shake things up for people and piss people off, as Socrates and a lot of other, ancient TI types could tell you, who were horribly persecuted for trying to point out truth. We will not stop. We will not bend to your BS, period. You either make sense or you don't. I don't care. I don't care if you try to call me horrible names and things like that for trying to determine truth. You're not going to convince me that you're right by calling me names. In fact, oftentimes that's more evidence that you're wrong. Anyway, so rant, guys. That's a little bit about what I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, guys.